Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Afternoon Tune. I'm your host, Josh, and with me are my two co-hosts.
It's your boy, Chayse.
And it's your boy, Nick.
And today we got a good show. Going to review some movies, 3 movies. Got The Witches, got Borat 2, we got On the Rocks, and going to be doing a TV series review of Lovecraft Country. Season 1 just ended this week, so I'm going to be doing a nice review of that. I've been eager to talk about that and to watch it, period, because I've heard so many people talk about it online and everything like that, so I've been eager to kind of watch it for myself. How's everybody doing?
Doing well. Can't complain at all.
Same. Doing great.
Yeah. Doing pretty good. Just saw that gameplay. I don't know if you guys are into Mortal Kombat or anything like that, but they're doing a whole new combat pack, and it's gonna be Melina and Rambo and Rain. So that was nice. And I saw. Oh yeah.
Oh, I saw a bit of Rain's video. He looks tight.
Yeah, he looks really good. I'm excited to play him. Rambo was just released yesterday.
Okay.
And he looks pretty good too. Because they're doing like kind of a whole 80s theme, I guess, with the DLC characters. A lot of them, like RoboCop is in MK11, Terminator's there. And like even in the gameplay footage, you saw like Terminator versus Rambo, which was pretty cool. That was pretty nice. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm still hoping and praying that they bring in Ash Williams. I'm still hoping and praying. I really, really hope they do.
I mean, they already brought like Freddy, they brought Jason, they brought Michael Myers into Mortal Kombat. It only makes sense to bring in Ash.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I'm really hoping. I mean, I don't know. It keeps going back and forth. People saying like, I don't think it'll happen because it's like a rights issue kind of thing.
Cowards.
Because I think they have the model design and everything and all that stuff. It's just a matter of if he's gonna appear or not because of the rights. So, but I'm still crossing my fingers. I'm hoping and praying that they bring in Ash Williams.
Come on, all they gotta do is like write a check to fucking Sam Raimi.
You know what I mean? Because I don't think he owns it, right? Who owns Evil Dead?
I think it might be Sony because
Sony.
Sony because Ash vs. Evil Dead was a Starz show, and I think that's one of their big things.
What they could do is fuck around and do what the Marvel game did with Spider-Man, where it's only a PlayStation exclusive character, but everybody would get pissed off of that though.
Yeah. Well, it'd be good for me. I got PlayStation. Fuck them Xbox niggas. Fuck them.
Hey,
I got PlayStation, so I don't care.
I got
no
my
games.
PlayStation. I got my PlayStation. Fuck them.
Yeah.
No games have an ass.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I'd be cool with that if they make it just a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, non-Spider-Man playing motherfucker.
You know, so that was like the thing I'm like excited for. That was pretty nice. Yeah, I don't know if like you guys play it at all, but that was something I'm pretty looking forward to. All right, so let's try to get into the show. First review is On the Rocks with Rashida Jones and Bill Murray. Now neither of the guys saw it, Chayse or Nick, because it came out today on Apple TV, which is a streaming service that Apple has, and it got released in theaters October 2nd. So I don't know. I mean, how many people got? It was like a limited release. Don't know how many people saw it given the conditions. Plus, it was a smaller movie anyway. So I'll just give a quick review of it real quick. So, like I said, the movie stars Rashida Jones, Bill Murray, Marlon Wayans, directed by Sofia Coppla. In the film, Rashida Jones is married to Marlon Wayans. A lot of the marriage seems very strained at the moment, hence the title, On the Rocks. Things, hence that title. And so,
I see what they did there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, you just cut in the meme of Leonardo DiCaprio pointing. And, that's basically, you see what they did there with that title. Very creative.
So Sofia Coppla has a sense of humor. I'm shocked.
In the film, it deals with like kind of this marriage between the two of them. Rashida Jones is very insecure about the marriage. Marlon Wayans is working all the time. She's also working. She's a writer, but her writing is stalled. They also have 2 kids together. So they're just not really connecting as much. And him going constantly working all the time and constantly feeling like this disconnection. She's speculating that he might be seeking attention elsewhere. It doesn't help when she goes to his office party and she runs into his coworkers. One of his coworkers happens to be an incredibly attractive woman, and that attractive woman is Jessica Heckwich, who people might know. She was in Iron Fist. She was in that, and she eventually became Iron Fist. They said fuck Danny Rand in that show and just was like, okay, we realize he sucks. Let's just make her the Iron Fist. You know what I mean?
Yes, the writers got on the same page as the fans of the show, quote unquote fans.
Yeah. She was also one of the Sand Snakes in Game of Thrones.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, that was kind of disappointing. Yeah, that whole storyline, the Sand Snakes. But hey, she was in there. She was one of them. Fine as hell, and fine as hell in this as well.
God damn right.
So that even leads kind of her mind to become even more paranoid. Rashida Jones meets, she has a brunch with her mother and grandmother and sister, and she's talking about her relationship and she's sitting around, and it's like, he works a lot and he travels with his coworkers. One of them is a woman, and then they all kind of look at each other around the table and go like, oh, is the woman attractive? And she's like, well, I mean, yeah, I guess, you know what I mean? And yeah, she's pretty attractive, and they all just kind of side-eye each other and like, oh, shit. Especially it doesn't help that her father being Bill Murray, who is just a horn dog. I mean, that's just, the most classic example of one you can basically imagine. A guy who cheated on her mother, continuously, has relationships with women, half his age, and just constantly dates all these other women, so that doesn't obviously help things. So if she wants to find out about her husband cheating, who's the main person she's gonna go to? She's gonna go to Bill Murray, the cheating master. This guy is, he's cheated and been with so many different women. Like, he's got he could teach a class on it. Like, he could major in it, like, give people a degree on it. Because they're trying to figure out, if her husband's cheating, and they're following him, and it's like, okay, well, no, he wouldn't go to this hotel because this hotel doesn't have enough exits, so he can't escape better at this hotel. I'm like he really breaks it all down, and like it's like a science. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude, how many times have you done this?
It broke the man code, I see.
Yeah, he was just letting all the secrets out. You know what I mean?
God damn.
So she goes to him for help.
Fucking traitor.
She goes to him for help to basically discover if he's cheating or not. I would say the main great stuff about the movie is the stuff between Rashida Jones and Bill Murray. I think they work really well together. Bill Murray, it's really a movie that I think it's both Bill Murray's kind of story and also Rashida Jones' kind of story. I think they dual kind of stories here. And I say that because as much as it's about Rashida Jones and the marriage between her and Marlon Wayans, it's also about this character of Bill Murray, this older guy who, throughout his whole life, he's somebody you think it's a life you want to live. Somebody who, it's been with all these women. He obviously has money where he can come and go as he pleases. He's got his own personal chauffeur. Everybody knows who he is. He's got all these relationships all over town. Is well read and goes to all these fancy restaurants. He's somebody you really would probably think you would want to be. Especially that older, and how cool that is. But I think slowly as the movie goes on, you realize this is not somebody that is meant to be idolized, and I like that, progression throughout the film. Another key thing about this film, also I really liked, is Marlon Wayans. Even though he's not in it a whole lot, he's not given that much to do, I still like them. It's a very much subdued Marlon Wayans. It's not screaming Marlon Wayans. It's not, haunted house Marlon Wayans. It's not scary movie Marlon Wayans. Even though I did like Scary Movie, I like the first two. I think the first two are very fun.
Yeah, the first two Scary movies are legitimately funny.
Yeah, but so he's much more subdued. He's much more calmed down. He's just playing a performance. Playing just acting. He's just which I think he does perfectly fine in. And I really enjoy seeing him even for the little bit that he's in there. And I think even though it's a simple premise of a film, like okay, this wife's trying to figure out if her husband is cheating or not. I think it's still executed pretty well. I think in the direction of it, in the performances of it, it's still something you would definitely like to see. You know what I mean? I wouldn't go to the theater to go see it, which I don't understand why they just didn't drop it on Apple TV to begin with, because this dropped on Apple TV today, and it got released in theaters October 2nd. So
I'll tell you why, because they need to release in theaters to be eligible for the Oscars.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, to probably be eligible for the Oscars. Depending on how this year shakes out, I don't know. Maybe you could. There's not that many movies that drop, so maybe
watch best picture be fucking Da Five Bloods, which The Invisible Man, Birds of Prey, and Bad Boys for Life in this.
Don't forget Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic.
Oh right, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic. So yeah,
James Marsden, Best Supporting Actor, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Depending if this year shakes out, I don't know. Maybe Bill Murray could get a Best Supporting nomination. Like he did when he worked with Sofia Coppla when they did Lost in Translation. Maybe they could maybe do something like that. I don't know, depending on how this year shakes out. I think it's a fine movie to sit at home, watch. You know what I mean? I know people already have probably 5 billion streaming services already. You know what I mean? Why should I subscribe to another one, Apple TV? But if you just want to check it out, if you were that curious about the film, you saw it, I think it's very enjoyable. I think the performances are good. Bill Murray's very good in the film. And usually typically with Sofia Coppla movies, I'm kind of hit or miss. I loved Lost in Translation, like a lot of people did. Wasn't big on Bling Ring. I didn't really like the Bling Ring all that much. Marie Antoinette didn't really like all that much. So, sometimes her movies are kind of hit and miss with me. But this one I thought was solid. I thought it was pretty good. I would give it a 7.5 out of 10 for me. Do you all have any questions about the movie at all, or?
No.
Good.
No, you pretty much covered every single question I had about this.
Is it worth paying for Apple TV?
How much is a subscription to Apple TV?
I think I looked yesterday. Apple TV is like $9.99 a month.
$9.99, like $10 a month.
Yeah.
Nah, you could chill.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like a simple drama. Because it's a fine movie. I don't think it's anything like epic on the level. It's like, yeah, you definitely got to check this out, man. It's that great. But like I said, solid. It's pretty good. And people already have a bunch of streaming services already: Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max. I got a lot of those streaming services. The only reason I was able to see this one is because there was like a deal. Because if you had like a new Apple product, they subscribed Apple TV Plus to you if you had like a new Apple product. So that's the only reason I had it and I saw it. So yeah. All right. So moving on from discussing On the Rocks, going to discuss Borat 2. Borat 2 is a sequel to Borat, which was the cultural phenomenon film that came out in 2006. Or as you
most likely know it, every frat boy's favorite movie, and the source of every single bad impersonator.
Yeah, they even comment on that in the movie.
Yeah, get some much.
And in the film, like Borat, the first one came out in 2006. Like I said, big cultural phenomenon movie. Like it blew up. I saw the first Borat about, I think, around when it came out, or a little bit later, like maybe 4 years later. Like, it's been a long time since I've seen the first Borat film. Like, a really, really long time. Like, what about you guys?
I actually just saw the original Borat. As a kid, growing up, I really didn't feel like I needed to watch it because it was around me all the time, pretty much. Everybody was making references to it, so I felt like I had seen it vicariously. But I don't know. When I was a kid, when I was younger, I didn't necessarily think it was a movie for me, and watching it changed my mind completely. I love this weirdo, and I want to visit Kazakhstan. I wish it existed.
Dude, Kazakhstan is a real country.
That Kazakhstan?
Oh, not that Kazakhstan.
Exactly. Well, how about you, Nick?
All right. I remember seeing this, I think maybe 2 years after it came out. And I remember really loving it. I think I was like maybe 2008. I was, 10, 13 at the time. And I kind of didn't really understand a lot of the humor that was going on. I revisited this a few years ago and just died laughing watching it, just how uncomfortable it got, and kind of amazed that he got away with a lot of what he was doing in the movie, bringing and interacting with like real people who weren't in on the joke.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the brilliance of the movie, like having these people, like, these kind of surreal kind of, real people mixed in with comedy bits. Like, that was what he was able to do, kind of, have that kind of mockumentary kind of style comedy, and it just made it for all the better. And I think might interject. I think at the time it was kind of like the next logical step after something like Jackass, where that show was doing pranks, but with Borat, it was doing pranks, but it was also trying to do a lot of social commentary and expose a lot of America's still kind of fucked up moral code.
Yeah.
I mean, and this movie does the same thing here, because in Borat 2, the whole premise is that in order to restore the great glory of the nation of Kazakhstan, Borat is going to deliver his daughter to the American regime, and he's trying to deliver his daughter to the president, President Trump. But he's like, well, I don't know. He's too high profile. I don't think I can get to him. But maybe
no. So he has to deliver his young daughter to a man who gets so much ass that he cannot be in the same room as another woman.
Not even the flies can get enough of him.
VP Pence, he's like, so it's
Vice President Michael, Vice Pussy Grabber, Michael Penis.
So he has to go deliver his daughter to. He's like, well, he's too high profile. I'll just compromise and give it to him instead. And his daughter, who's played by Maria Belkova, she's really funny in it. And I think him and her work very, very well together. I think she has a lot of very funny moments in this. There's a scene where she's in the car with a woman, and she's constantly screaming, "Women can't drive. That's illegal. You're a man," which is really funny. I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was one of the funnier moments in this, and a lot of the humor with her, it comes from a lot of really misogynistic upbreeding. Like they in the movie version of Kazakhstan, like, women can't drive, women aren't allowed to read, women aren't even allowed to be in the same car as a man.
Yeah, women's vagina have teeth that swallow from inside. Yeah.
It's basically the movie Teeth. For any of you seen it?
Yeah.
Thankfully, no.
I don't know. There's a woman in Lovecraft Country who I think I'd be willing to take that risk or something like that. But we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. We'll sacrifice it. We'll sacrifice ourselves later.
That 30 seconds will be worth it.
I'd at least try to make it a minute. 30. But yeah, back to Borat.
Okay.
All right. Oh yeah, because Nick, you were saying like how it touches on misogynistic culture, the social commentary of that, and like that's what a lot of her humor is based on. And she even goes through a kind of an arc in the film, which is nice, of her learning, like being in America and learning kind of these different things, which is also very funny. Because she says, like, I've opened my eyes. I know the truth. I know this place called Facebook that has all the answers, all the truths. You know what I mean?
And the first thing she does is, Holocaust isn't real.
Yeah, I love that bit. In her coming to her own, she discovers like this whole Republican women's convention. She does it the worst possible way by going to a Republican women's convention and then looking at Facebook where all the QAnon conspiracies are. I love it. That's where she learns that her father and her whole culture has been lying to her through other lies.
So I mean, there's just a lot of good things that this movie does. I mean, you guys, you just recently saw the first one. I didn't go back and watch the first one again. So how much do you think it compares to the first one, as far as humor, as far as what it does with the social commentary, how much of it is updated? Because this is 14 years, that's a decade plus. I mean, how well do you think Sacha Baron Cohen does at having that same type of humor? Because a lot of Borat, was it lightning in a bottle? Was he able to kind of repeat that, you think?
I think so.
Yeah, I think Borat very much was lightning in a bottle. It was something that can only be done once. So what I feel like he does here is he pulls less away from just going for a lot of shock humor jokes and telling a more narrative's actual story in this, and using those jokes to supplement it. Which, I don't know about you guys, but whenever like movies like Borat or Bruno or The Dictator, which was like the one like full-on narrative, I always feel like Sacha Baron Cohen movies are really weak when it comes to here. And here, it's actually a really sweet father-daughter and coming-of-age story, and it works really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you
arcs? I was just gonna basically say the arcs feel justified despite the telling of it. Despite it all just being one crazy comedy, the arcs feel justified. And I wanted to ask. So I just found out about the whole like Rudy Giuliani scene. Like how much of the movie was actually just kind of like that original Borat style, where it was they were just shooting and and Sacha Baron Cohen was just in character, just fucking around. Do you know?
What do you mean?
I mean, it's
because this felt. I was just gonna say
sorry.
This felt more story driven, more so than like the original movie kind of felt like a collection of scenes.
Okay. So
and this one feels like there's actual arcs, like
a
both,
narrative.
They're both Borat and his daughter are actually learning something as they go along this trip. Rather than the first one where it's kind of just him like experiencing all the worst of America, and
and he does that here too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he definitely does. But
yeah, and a lot of stuff that happened with Sacha Baron Cohen that's come out in the news like during the pandemic, a lot of that makes appearances here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there was because the troll game in this movie is A1. I mean the troll game is pretty good, and a lot of stuff he did before even the movie came out appeared in the news beforehand. You know what I mean? Like there was a scene where he goes to like this MAGA rally, dressed up as like the prospector from Toy Story, and And that, I remember that was like a big thing in the news beforehand of how he tricked all these people into thinking like he was like this country singer.
Tricked a lot of people into singing along to a whole lot of racist, whole lot of homophobic shit, a lot of like anti-science stuff.
Okay, so that whole scene was real.
That was real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was the scene where he breaks into the convention where Mike Pence was speaking? Is that real?
That was also real.
Yeah.
I looked back at that video and I could hear him screaming, "Michael Penis! I brought the young girl for you." I could hear him screaming that.
That is funny as hell.
Yeah.
Legally, how does he get away with that? Because I know for film, you have to you have to get people to sign off on using their image or their likeness a lot. So, especially if you're making money off of it. So,
I mean,
yeah. I don't know how he gets away with. Yeah, I don't know how he gets away with that. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
When he showed the MAGA rally, I'm like,
yeah.
Because why would those people really want their faces to be shown? You know what I mean? But there was the one guy that walked past.
Well, they probably don't know what it is for, or they get told that, yeah, we're just filming the rally to show off our ideals or something or the other.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, they could kind of just be like, oh yeah, we're media.
Yeah, and
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll get to a certain somebody who definitely didn't want to be caught on camera.
Yeah.
The way he got caught on camera too. I thought that was all scripted, dog. I didn't know that was actually happening until I saw it blow up on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. So the big thing that happened was with Rudy Giuliani, because in the movie, Borat's daughter is giving an interview, and to Rudy Giuliani, because she was like, okay, well, I can't get the Michael Pence, that failed. And then it's funny, there's a scene in the movie that's funny where she kind of goes through all the other people she could possibly be offered up to, and she keeps scrolling through all the list of names, like, what about him? And she points to like Michael Cohen in jail. Okay, what about him? And she points to who else is it? Michael Flynn, right?
Oh, Michael Flynn,
Steve Bannon. It's like, he get arrested. And it's like all these other people. It keeps just flipping. And it's like, okay, let's just settle on him. And that's when she does like an interview with him, and the interview's over, and then they grab drinks, they go in the back. So some people, it's like, some people saying like he was tucking in his shirt, he wasn't tucking in his shirt.
Let's say this. The video has like widely circulated around like YouTube and social media. Motherfucker, you don't lie back and reach into your pants, lingering around your dick when you're tucking your shirt in.
Especially when one of your hands is touching the girl's ass.
Yeah. Because it's kind of weird, because it was like, so they grab drinks and then they go into the room, and then she's trying to like take the mic off of him, right? And you can see she's like pulling her shirt up to like take the mic out, right? But then when she's kind of bending over to do it, he kind of pats her on like the hip and stuff like that, lower back. And then he like lays back, and some people say, "Oh, he's tucking his shirt." I don't tuck in my shirt laying down. You know what I mean?
Not like that.
Yeah, I don't tuck in my shirt. So I was like, I don't do that late. Like I don't tuck in my shirt.
No, I saw the motherfucker squeeze.
Plus, he was wearing a dress shirt, so it was already tucked in.
Well, I think she kind of you could say she untucked it a little bit, because when she was like pulling out the mic, she was kind of doing that. But then, like when she was trying to get off the mic a little bit. He was like, okay, I'm gonna need your name and your like address and phone number. Like you could say maybe the phone number you can understand, because it's like maybe you want to follow up on like, okay, when is the interview gonna be posted? Where is it gonna be posted? All that other stuff. But then he asked for her address. Why the hell do you need her address? That didn't really make a lot of sense.
Big shocker. Creepy old man is a creepy old man. Big shocker.
So I was like, I mean. Because it kind of looked kind of weird, him just kind of playing around, like playing pocket pool there, you know what I mean? Like him just kind of so, and then
did he know cameras were still on?
Nah, he must have not known that. He must.
Goodness.
Cause like you see, like, cause the scene with Borat, like he pops up, and everything like that, and you can see like he kind of had a look like he got caught, like, oh shit, what?
Yeah.
Like his hands was down, like, oh,
He got caught and ran.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I mean, I'm not saying one way or the other 100%, but I'm like, it don't look like he really tucking in his shirt on that much. But
I won't say one way or the other, but it sure as shit don't look good.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought that was scripted the way it went down. It was just like too.
Come on, dude. You know, like that side of the political spectrum has zero sense of humor. You really think they're gonna agree to that?
Facts.
Yeah.
But I was just like, wow, this is like going down way too like easily. So I don't know.
Hey, well, you know what they say.
He is a creep, though.
You know what they say. When you start thinking with the wrong head, you kind of stop thinking.
Yeah. But when they did the first Borat film, he got a lot of politicians then too, if I remember correctly. Like he got some other people, like other major people. Also, like
nobody like. I don't remember anybody like up to like this level of prominence right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like he got like he was talking to like maybe congressmen and stuff like that, or interviewing a couple of them, but nobody like Rudy Giuliani, who is quote unquote the president's best friend.
Yeah, nobody. I don't think. Yeah, you're right. Of that level. But yeah, he would get like kind of people like that, and he did the same thing like when he was Ali G, stuff like that, which was really funny. Stuff like that.
And stuff as recently as like This Is America on Showtime.
Yeah. So people. It's not. It happens a lot. I mean, it's not like you get telling these, like even not even by Sacha Baron Cohen, but just like a lot of these kind of mock, reporters. You don't know from there's like 80 billion news stations, blogs, websites, everything like that.
Yeah.
Everybody has a podcast.
Like we do.
Yeah, every asshole has a podcast like us, So
like, comment, and subscribe.
So it's it's not plausible you can just catch a couple of these people slipping up and everything like that. So to give final thoughts on the movie, I think it is really funny. I think there's a lot of really good moments in it that you will laugh at. It is nice to see. I don't know if it's nice to see, but just like kind of it's a lot of what the first Borat did. That insight into America. People. The way they think, the way they feel, the way they are kind of just not thrown off by his obvious racism and anti-Semitism. You know what I mean? It goes into a cake shop and, asks the woman to put icing on the cake. Jews will not replace us. And just not even a hesitation. It's like, okay, sure. And then just does this like, okay.
Granted, this isn't like south of Texas.
Yeah.
When he's doing this.
Yeah. So, there's still that good level of commentary in this movie. I think that was probably in the first movie. And I really enjoyed it a lot. I would give it, I think an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. What about you guys?
Well, for me, it's hard to give a movie like this, quote unquote. I don't want to give it I'm gonna give it a 9, dog. I had so much fun with it. I had so much fun with it, and the fact that it was a solid political commentary, somehow shot throughout the midst of COVID, and it had a good narrative to it. It was a father-daughter road trip story. I gotta give it a 9. I had a lot of fun with it. It was, for me at least, one of the most enjoyable films this year. And yeah, check it out.
Nick?
All right, well, with something like the first Borat, it's kind of hard to capture that magic again. It's hard to get that kind of blend of scathing social commentary and have it be as funny as it is. And I feel like for the second time out, Sacha Baron Cohen, he decided to take a more narrative and more story-driven approach. And it would not have worked if he didn't cast an actress like Maria Bakalova, I think is how you say her name. And their chemistry is on fire. Every time they're on screen together, I could not look away. And they together and her alone, they have some of the funniest moments in the entire movie, and some of the funniest moments I've seen this year. I had so much fun with this, and everything that's from the first movie, it's not as shocking as it is, but it still works for this. So I gotta agree with you, Josh, and give this 8 out of 10.
Wow. Is that the first time we've ever agreed on it? The first time?
I think so, yeah.
Wow. You finally got some.
You guys are haters.
Yeah. Nick finally got some taste. All right, there we go.
Oh, no. Motherfucker!
Yeah.
Y'all are gross.
Yeah, coming from the dude that gave The Boys a 9. Now I feel dirty.
What do you mean? The Boys is fire.
Yeah, Josh gave it a 9. We gave it like 10.
Oh wait, yeah. I forgot he gave it a 9. Oh my god.
Yeah. I hate.
How could you side with this man? How could you side with this man?
So can you all think of any negatives of Borat 2? Anything that you didn't like? Any dislikes?
Before we get to that, I just remembered he gave. I'm thinking of ending things a 7, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Oh.
This isn't the first time he's given a bad review.
I feel like if I could find a criticism, with a lot of sketch comedy, there's like a tendency for it to go too long, and I feel like maybe a couple jokes went on a little too long.
Can you remember one that went on for too long?
For me, it was like the I'm trying to remember what it's called. The like ball, like the ballroom.
The period blood, the moon blood.
Yeah, the moon blood. I felt like that went on a little too long for my taste.
That's fair.
Oh, jeez.
I still laughed, but
yeah.
The conclusion of that scene is, ooh. Yeah. Oh man.
Now, I do have a couple questions though. So like, and I need to see the behind scenes for this movie in particular, because do you think the two MAGA dudes that that Borat was hanging out with, do you think those were actually like MAGA dudes, or do you think they were?
Yeah, let's be real. If they were, I think they're actors, because let's be real. Okay. If they were real people, the second he said, "Hello, can I live with you?" BAM! He threatened me. I feel threatened.
Some foreign terrorist asked to live with me during the midst of a lockdown.
I felt threatened.
Yeah, that was.
So I stood my ground.
That was kind of one thing that was kind of a negative for me. Just like kind of that I didn't think that was. I thought that was kind of the weakest part of it. Just him.
At first, it kind of like felt the weakest part, but then like as that little arc progresses, you kind of see the chemistry between the three of them, and as fucked up as it is, it's actually kind of sweet.
I just love the fact that Borat's misogyny was just too much for them.
Exactly, the racism fine, but the sexism.
Like that's where we draw the line. They are people too. Yeah. Women are people.
It's like goddamn.
Everyone's got limits. Everyone's got a line.
Yeah.
All right.
So, that was funny.
All right. So moving on from discussing Borat 2, going to discuss The Witches. The Witches, with starring Anne Hathaway, directed by Robert Zemeckis, and it's based on the Roald Dahl's 1983 classic book called The Witches. It was also made into a 1990 movie starring Angela Davis. Correct. Angelica Houston. Sorry. Angelica Houston. That's what it was. who is very, very attractive. Very nice older woman. I will say so myself.
And our group chat name is gonna change.
Drink some water.
Yeah.
For the group chat.
Has anybody? So have you all ever seen the 1990 version of The Witches?
Nah.
I have not. No. Seeing the trailer for this was the first time I ever heard of this property.
Same.
Yeah, for me too. And in the film, it deals with a scary story involving witches who turn little children into rats. Do they say like what they do when they turn them? Do they eat them when they turn into rats?
Or they just step on them.
They just step on them. Oh, okay.
That's what it looked like. That's what
this is a children's movie. You can't get too dark.
Yeah, because this movie is PG. This 2020 movie, it is PG. It is a movie that premiered on HBO Max. It's a HBO Max film, original film. And it stars Chris Rock, Octavia Spencer, and Anne Hathaway are the big names in this. You also have Chris Rock is doing the narration for the movie. And you see him, the actor who plays him as like the little boy, Jahir's Bruno. What was throwing me off a lot about it a little bit was the little boy and Anne Hathaway reminded me of two people that I see, I follow. It was just kind of throwing me off to the whole thing, especially like Anne Hathaway doing the accent. It just really reminded me of somebody. Also, I don't know what accent she's really trying to do. I'm like, is that supposed to be Russian? Is it supposed to be some vague European other country?
Yeah, it's vague European, and it keeps jumping around like different East European countries. It's like it's Russian one second, it's German the next, it's like Swedish.
Yeah,
we'll get to her.
And during Grandma's exposition, I'm pretty sure she said it was she was from Denmark or something, but she didn't sound anything like any Denmark person I've heard.
I don't know. That's okay. I miss where the Octavia Spencer was giving all that narration, because she gives so much exposition, a lot of exposition dumps. She apparently they don't never explain how she knows so much about witches or has this whole encyclopedia knowledge about witches. I'm like, are you like? Yeah. I thought it was gonna be revealed that she was like a witch hunter or some shit like that. Like that.
Well,
a more interesting movie would have taken that approach. And what's frustrating about this is that when you look on the producers list of this movie, two names jump out. Guillermo del Toro and Alfonso Cuarón are both producers on this.
Wow.
Well, they probably just threw money at it, especially the effects. You could tell the money went to primarily the effects.
Yes, really? And I feel like if either of them were doing this or somebody else, we would have had a more interesting movie than what Zemeckis gave us.
Yeah.
Because you said the money got thrown in the effects. I mean, I thought the effects
did it though?
Horrible. I thought they were horrible.
Did it though?
Dude, that was the whole budget. How
they were horrible. I mean, I don't know. Like
I never said it was good. I'm just saying that's where the money went.
I think mostly the money went to getting people like Anne Hathaway and Stanley Tucci and Octavia Spencer. I think that's where probably most of the money went.
And also to get Chris Rock to narrate every other scene.
Motherfucker, that dude, they just paid him like $50 to sit in a recording booth and give his old like Southern preacher impression.
Yeah.
That's just his stage voice, dude.
Like he was laying it on thick. Chris Rock was laying on super thick.
Everybody in this movie is laying on thick.
Now let me tell you how this movie goes. That's the type of voice he goes into.
Yeah, I was kind of like it is loud. Like Chris Rock, like even if you have your shit on mute, your shit's still gonna be loud. Like if Chris Rock is
now, I'm pretty sure my upstairs neighbors could hear me watching this movie every time Chris Rock spoke.
Yeah, but I mean, but like you said, he does this narration and he's, really laying it on thick. But like you said, everybody's kind of laying it on thick. I will say Anne Hathaway, I mean, it looks like she is, she's actually caring about it. I mean, I think she's, trying to like.
Is she?
I mean,
is
I
she
think she's
though?
having fun. I think she's having legit
Yeah,
fun.
she's having a great time chewing up scenery.
And like you said, she's chewing up scenery, and her design. If you look at like a lot of the witches in the 1990 film, their design, like the way they made the witches look in the 1990 film, a lot of people was comparing the two. They had like kind of this melted kind of witch kind of face, almost like Wizard of Oz-esque, like with like the Wicked Witch of the East, Wicked Witch of the West, and it kind of had that kind of look to it, that aesthetic to it. So it depends on which one you find more scary. I mean, a lot of it with the 1990 version, from looking at it, it was a lot of prosthetics. It was a lot of makeup, which I'm more of a bigger fan of, that kind of style. This one, a lot more, CGI, a lot more kind of digital effects.
And let's be real, the reason it's all CGI is because it's Robert Zemeckis, and the guy has spent a solid 10 years of giving us the creepiest, dead-eyed CG animated movies, and I guess he couldn't help himself with this.
Yeah, I mean,
not at all.
Pretty much.
It's his niche.
Yeah.
He could not help himself.
Yeah, it's pretty much on brand at this point. But like a lot of the design they do here with the witches, they kind of have like these Glasgow kind of smiles, kind of these Joker kind of smiles. People don't know. People know the Joker smile, kind of like that whole thing where it looks like your mouth is cut from your lip to your ears.
Want to know how? I half expected Anne Hathaway to at one point say, "You want to know how I got these scars?" CG.
I think it's an okay look. Actually, speaking of like something like Mortal Kombat, like it kind of looks like Melina's mouth, like from Mortal Kombat. Kind of has that same look to it. You know what I mean? Like, so, I think it's not as creative as the design they did the 90s version. I don't think it is as much work put into it. But I think it's still pretty much decent. You have Octavia Spencer, who's playing a lot of roles she's always played. The, caring, loving, black mother figure. Here she's the grandmother. Just like the character, like it's a similar character she played in Help. It's a similar character she played in, Hidden Figures, you know what I mean? Like that same type of person, that personality. So, I mean, it's what she's been doing for a long time, you know what I mean? And, here she's kind of doing the same thing. There's really not any much variation on that character.
She's getting typecast, but she's really good at playing that same role.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just wish she had a much better script to work with.
Yeah,
she's really trying to give that exposition well, and not even she can save the writing. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
the first 30 minutes of this movie is boring. Oh my god.
Okay, I wouldn't say the first 30 minutes is boring. Like the whole thing. The first 30 minutes of this is kind of when I had hope for this, because
really.
Yeah, because it's starting out like with this really sweet and caring look at a child in grief. And Octavia Spencer is carrying that, and the kid is kind of silent. He's kind of reserved by nature because, the kid's parents just died. And then the kid opens his mouth. And that motherfucker cannot act to save his goddamn life. It was distracting. It was like that. It was like the worst of child actors. It's like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone level of acting from the kid.
Wow. Jesus. Wow. I didn't think. I mean,
right.
He mostly is not really kind of in it all that much, technically, somewhat. I mean, you saying like even when he was a voice,
it's just his delivery. His delivery is very dry.
Yeah,
but I also do attribute that to the direction in the script as well, because there's a lot of... What annoyed me the most about him is that he's kind of like Dora in the sense that he'll look at something and then he'll like point it out. Like, hey, you see that right there, guys? That's the potion in the ice that she's carrying that we are looking at right now. Did you see that?
Look, they're witches.
Oh my god.
Oh no, I'm in trouble now.
Yeah, it's that.
Like, I was half expecting him to look at the screen and tell us like what exactly was going on. Oh god.
Like you said, it's like you bring up examples of the characters doing that. It's that level, because this movie's PG, so it's that level of I guess writing. I mean, it's treating kids like they're stupid. Like and this movie is meant for kids that are probably younger than 12.
2?
Like probably like younger than like is 11 and below. Cause that's really maybe like what this is aiming towards. It's like maybe that demographic, and you could see HBO Max doing something like this because it's like, okay, we need more maybe kid-friendly stuff in our library to diversify it, because mostly our stuff is focused towards adults.
Yeah, so, like our two biggest hits are Watchmen and Lovecraft Country, and ain't no kid should be watching that.
So I could see them why they probably did it to more diversify their library and stuff. They're not like Disney. They don't have endless amounts of cartoons, and cartoon movies that they have on this platform as of yet. Even though they're bringing back Animaniacs. I saw a trailer for that.
That's going on Hulu.
Oh, that's going on Hulu?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's like the biggest joke in the trailer. It's going to Hulu, but it also doesn't make sense to just bring this in to diversify, because HBO Max has access to like the Cartoon Network library.
Yeah. Which I don't know when they're gonna bring that to the streaming service. They brought up the DC stuff. A lot of the DC stuff is coming over, but a lot of the DC stuff, there's Young Justice, there's kind of the Batman stuff, like Batman cartoons, like Brave and the Bold, but mostly a lot of the DC Universe stuff, like Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing and Teen Titans. That's also too adult for younger kids. So this is kind of what they're trying to do here, this PG movie, and it's completely treats the audience like it's stupid. Just because it's for little kids doesn't mean you don't have to try. Don't mean you have to do basic, humor, basic writing, basic in all those elements.
Which it's just a simple failure of telling and not showing us. You could have showed us every little detail that Octavia Spencer tells us. And you could have saved us so many scenes of her just sitting at the bed, coughing up a storm, telling what's the boy's name?
He doesn't have a name.
Yeah,
he's never given a name. It's like I watched this with the subtitles on, and every time he was speaking, it would literally call him Hero.
I'm gonna just call him Mouse Rock.
Yeah, Mouse Rock. Yeah.
No, don't call him Mouse Rock, because Mouse Rock is something that's fun and awesome and cool and interesting. Basically, everything this movie fucking isn't.
Fair. I'll just call him the hero then.
Like Octavia Spencer, she doesn't. Yeah, like her character doesn't. She's his grandma. Like she doesn't have a character name. Like Octavia Spencer, she's his grandma. So I want to get you guys. So what were your general likes and dislikes of it, pretty much?
So I had to really reach for the things that I did like. But there were certain moments with whenever they were in the kitchen, I thought was kind of funny. You had that sort of Chef Bourdain or type of dude that was just yelling at everybody. I kind of liked some of Anne Hathaway's scenes when she was just making fun of the hotel dude and talking over him and really asserting herself. And also when she was looking at disgust at the kids, because I felt that. I could relate to that. But other than that, there's just nothing here that really deserves watching. If you're a fan of the old movies and the old movie, you might like this maybe. I don't know how close this is to it, but I can't really see this movie playing out for anybody. I wouldn't even play it for my kid, to be honest with you. I feel like the CGI is just a bit spooky enough for kids to be turned off by it, but the writing is just terrible. So kids older or old enough to want to watch it would feel stupid watching it because it's like, it's not good. It's not a good movie. And I'll give my rating of it. I give it like a 3.
A 3? Damn.
Yeah.
Nick, what about you?
Okay, so imagine my surprise when I look at this kind of pretty in quotes picture, and there really isn't a story, and there's like a lot of like gothic visuals. And imagine my surprise to not see directed by Tim Burton at the end of this. It's just this is like the worst in children's movies cliches. It's just not funny, and I know you guys are giving Anne Hathaway props for like how much fun she's having, but she is overacting, and it's not entertaining like Nicolas Cage overacting. It's awkward, like nobody wanted to say cut. It felt like Jared Leto Joker acting. And she's just glaring and doing a piss poor Gollum impersonation half the time. And the thing that was disappointing the most is this is set in the 60s, and your leads are black, and you're not gonna address any racism in this? Not even for a second?
I felt like the most that they addressed it was when the hotel manager was just like, "Oh, you are quite a lucky little fellow to be in this hotel. Not many fellows like you get to be in this hotel."
It's like if you're trying to do a horror movie, you have to have like some threat other than the actual monsters. That's what made we'll get to it, but that's what made Lovecraft Country work so well.
Yeah.
Is that there's something other than the supernatural that's an actual threat. And I don't know about you guys, but when it got to the end and it revealed what was the whole framing device for this, I was shocked. That was fucking dark. And I won't say what it is unless you say it's cool, but goddamn, if the movie took that tone with this, then I would give it a lot more credit. But it's just every cliche in the book. You could play a drinking game when you see a cliche and die by the end of it. Yep, the kids characters turn into animals. Think of every "oh no, I'm an animal" joke, and you see it. Think of every reaction shot from an old black grandma. You get it. You get a dance number and a photo montage during the credits. I hate this movie. Fuck you, Zemeckis. Fuck you.
Jesus Christ.
God damn. Wow. This is 2 out of 10. It gets 2 because Octavia Spencer is clearly trying her best, but there's just nothing for her to work with here.
Yeah.
That's the only credit I'm giving this movie.
Well, let's see. Like I said, I think that the performances from Anne Hathaway, I think she seems like she's having fun with it. She's chewing scenery. I think that was somewhat enjoyable to watch out of this whole thing, even if she's doing a weird accent that you don't even know where, that goes in and out and goes all these other different regions and parts of Europe and everything else. I mean, it's like, okay, well, you're giving something to it. You're giving some energy to it. The movie, at the beginning of it, like Chayse said, is really just kind of dull and uninteresting. And it doesn't. The real stuff kicks off when you meet the witches, when they go to the hotel and they meet the witches there. It is kind of, they don't really explain why Octavia Spencer has so much knowledge of witches. Why was that one witch in particular? Why was she following them again? I think I missed that.
Who knows? They didn't. They just dropped that plot point and turned her into a. Never mind. Let me stop. Before I spoil it.
Okay.
They
so,
just drop it.
So there's a lot of things like that. Like I said, drop storylines. There's just not caring, treating the audience, the kids, like they're stupid. A lot of lame jokes, a lot of kind of that typical kind of kids humor that what they think kids will find funny. No real imagination there. I can't really compare it to the 90s version. I've seen clips of the 90s version. Kind of movies like that, like, because this kind of feels like kind of they're trying to do like a Disney Channel original type thing, like maybe you would see back when you were a kid, like something like Hocus Pocus or something like Don't Look Under the Bed. But I don't know, maybe it's because I haven't seen those movies since I was a kid myself. But I think things like that, like Smart House or something, those kind of movies had like a charm to them and a likability to them that I don't think that this movie has. You know what I mean? And if kids want to watch something, like if you were a kid or if you were a parent of a younger child, like I said, this is mostly directed to an audience that's like 10 and below, 11 and below. Like that's really where most of this is directed towards. There's much better stuff. I mean, like that you could probably, take your kid to watch. Like I said, there's something that has that quality of likability to it, that's charming in a way, but it's not annoying. It probably won't annoy you with how terrible it is. I think, like I said, Hocus Pocus, I think is a good example of that you could sit there and watch your kids. Halloween Town is a good example of that. I think, Smart House is a good example of that. There's things you could probably watch with your kids sitting down, for Halloween that would not be too scary for him or her, that you could really watch. And, I think other than this, Octavia Spencer, she's trying her best with the material, but she's just typically, typecast as all the other roles she plays, and all the other movies I've mentioned. Stanley Tucci, phenomenal actor, doesn't really get anything to do here. He's barely really in the movie, really. He kind of has a few scenes, and then he's, kind of pops in and out. Like you said, it being a movie set in the 60s, addressing like whether or not, it doesn't address, the racism of the 60s. It's a kids movie. I don't know. I'm not gonna hammer it on there for too hard. I mean, it's like out of all the movies, I didn't want this movie to tackle racism. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it would have fumbled the bag real bad.
It's not the fact that it didn't tackle it. It just didn't even. It pretended it didn't exist. That's the problem.
Pretending it didn't exist. Okay, I could kind of see that. Yeah, pretending it didn't exist.
That's the problem.
Okay, I can see that. But overall, I would give it a 3. I'd give it a 3 out of 10. Just a 3 for me.
Okay.
Robert Zemeckis. The last film I saw for him was Flight. I know he's made some movies in between then, and I love Flight. So I know he's still got good ability in him to do something good.
I think I'm gonna lower my score to a 2.
A 2.
Shit. You reminded me of one of my favorite movies, and this same guy directed that. Yeah, I'm lowering my rating. You get a 1, motherfucker.
And I don't know. You could say, I guess, Back to the Future is a kid's movie, kind of.
Yeah.
You could say.
I watched it as a kid.
It's a kid's movie back then. I don't know if it would play so well today with all the incest humor.
And he also did, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, so he can do kids type properties. So
yeah,
it's not
but how long ago were all of those movies?
Yeah, that's
been
very
a minute.
true.
Like
30
years ago.
Yeah, that is very true. So, so his next upcoming thing is another kids movie. He's doing a Pinocchio live action film. So.
Oh God, please not it be dead-eyed CG.
You know what I mean? So.
You already know what it is.
Oh no!
You're gonna see that nose stretch out in dead-eye CGI.
So, yeah, I know he's got some talent left in the tank. I don't know if he used it all up with Flight.
I put him in the same camp as Steven Spielberg. He's one of these guys who is Hollywood royalty that his best days are behind him.
I wouldn't put him up with Spielberg though.
Spielberg makes good movies though.
Did you see Ready Player One?
Okay, that was bad, but I still like, like he's still done some really good movies. Like Bridge of Spies was good, Was good.
All right, but I can't compare him to Spielberg though, because Spielberg owned the '80s. Zemeckis was there, but he didn't quite own it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Spielberg cannot miss in the '80s with E.T., with fucking Jaws. Like, nah.
All right.
All right. So, moving on from discussing
Indiana Jones.
Moving on.
Right. Yeah. Moving on from discussing the witches, going to discuss the another HBO series, HBO Max, as well, Lovecraft Country. Lovecraft Country, starring Jonathan Majors and Journey Smollett, based on the writings of H.P. Lovecraft. In the show, it deals with Jonathan Majors, who plays Atticus Freeman, who comes back home after the war. He was in the Korean War, and journeys on a road trip across America to discover in a search for his missing father. In the show, it's a supernatural horror show that also deals with not only like the typical H.P. Lovecraft monsters and mythology, but also with black protagonists in the 50s. Deals with also the horrors of racism, because as much as you can probably run away from a giant Cthulhu monster, you can't run away from what's all around you every single day.
The white man.
Yeah, the white man. There's nothing scarier than the fucking white man. You know what I mean? The ultimate.
Nothing scarier than a creepy old white man, and that is also true today. The beginning of this series starts off with just this dream sequence that happens from the main character, where it's all these different things. It's aliens. It's monsters. Jackie Robinson is there. You know what I mean? Fighting monsters. It's like this ultimate orgasm of these things that the character Atticus Freeman is dreaming about, because he's reading the H.P. Lovecraft story, which they in the series, his books are canon. His books are like something people in the show do read, and he's a avid reader of these kind of sci-fi horror stories. The series itself, developed by Misha Green, who is a black woman, and her, integrating a lot of black history into the show. Things like Emmett Till, things like the Tulsa Massacre, which was referenced just recently in another HBO series, Watchmen. That was a big plot point in the beginning of that episode, how that series kicked off. And there's so much in it. It's so much history kind of plugged into this, that it does make it very, very a great watch of how those two things blend well together. The horror of that, the supernatural nature of that. Atticus Freeman, his uncle in it, who's played by Courtney B. Vance, who is the luckiest man in the world because he's married to Angela Bassett. You know what I mean? Like, he's the fucking luckiest guy. Like, holy shit. How did he pull that off? Wait, is that Angela Bassett? That's not Angela Bassett.
No, I'm saying Courtney B. Vance is married to Angela Bassett.
IRL.
In real
Okay.
Life.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. I got you now.
Yeah.
Like, I was about to say, she's beautiful, but she's not Angela Bassett, dog.
Yeah. In real life, Courtney B. Vance is married.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, I mean, luckiest guy in the world. But he, his uncle in it, he writes a Green Book, which was also, there was a movie based on it with Mahershala Ali and Viggo Mortensen telling that story. Basically, what a Green Book was like this travel guide for Black Americans in the 60s to know where it was safe to travel in America, that you wouldn't be heavily racially discriminated against, where you would, face the least amount of discrimination, where, you'd have the most likelihood to survive. And he's the one that writes the book for Black people to travel safely. So what were you guys kind of feelings about watching it, because the last episode just premiered Sunday and we kind of binged it throughout the week. What were you guys' general thoughts on it?
I thought it was pretty good. I love the lore aspect of it. Whenever they get into sort of like all the sci-fi premises, all the ghost monsters, and the bits and pieces that we do get of the soft magic system, I enjoyed it a lot. Now, my biggest gripe with the show has to be Atticus, because he is just not it's not the problem that he is an unlikable protagonist, it's just that he's not a very charming character. But we'll get more into that later. But I do like the world that they built, and I love the intensity, especially of like those first first 2 episodes. It's super intense, and I'm honestly more scared of the white people in this show than I am of the monsters.
As you should be.
Yeah. Oh. I found myself rooting for the monsters half the time.
Yeah.
Yes, same.
Nick, what were your kind of feelings watching it?
All right, my feelings. I feel like this is one of the most intriguing sci-fi and horror series on TV right now. I think that I love the world building you get. I love that this is a fantasy sci-fi show where it's magic, but it's not like Harry Potter magic. It's like it's like old world magic. It's something that feels ancient, something that we'll never understand no matter how long we spend trying, and it feels like something that has a great cost to it. It's not like a goddamn fix-all for everything, which is kind of like the danger of writing something and using magic. And I feel like, yes, the show it perfectly balances the horror of the supernatural and the horror and the real world horror that these people are experiencing. And I also love no matter how fantastical it gets, it always comes back to being about the characters and about their performances, and like little tiny moments of levity that keep it grounded. That some of my favorite moments I'll talk about if we get to spoilers.
Okay. I agree with you there, Nick. I think not only are the just the show does good job at blending the horror aspect and blending the real world aspects. And you also mentioned the cast and just the performances. And I think, really everybody does a very, very good job. And I like how really a lot of people in the show kind of get their own moments to shine in each kind of episode, which is nice. Like Michael K. Williams, who's in this. I think he does a very, very good job. He has a lot of great moments in this series. I think that the actress, I'm trying to pronounce her name, Juan Ellis, who plays Courtney B. Vance's wife in the show, Hippolyta Freeman, even though they don't pronounce it Hippolyta, they pronounce it Hippolyta.
Hippolyta, dog.
Hippolyta.
Yeah.
Hippolyta. That's how they pronounce it.
Yeah, Hippolyta, but normally it's pronounced Hippolyta. Hippolyta.
We're just as bad as the police officers in that one.
Oh God, I hope we're never as bad as the police officers.
Yeah.
In pronouncing the name.
Oh.
Yeah. Because normally it's pronounced Hippolyta, which is the Greek which is great.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Hippolyta. Because Hippolyta, because she was in, she was a character in Greek. She's a character in Greek mythos. She was also in the Wonder Woman movie.
Are you sure it's pronounced that way?
I'm pretty sure it's pronounced. If somebody can correct me, it's Hippolyta. That's how you pronounce it.
Well, you know how we do in the black community. We gotta spice up some names a little bit, add a little bit of color to it. You know what I'm saying? A little seasoning. Never hurt nobody.
Yeah, and she was in the Wonder Woman movie too, as well. She was in that.
Was she?
Yeah, she was.
The character by that name was in the Wonder Woman movie. I'm not sure if it was actually that figure.
Yeah, she was played by Connie Nelson in it.
Okay.
Yeah, she was, because she's like the leader of the Amazons. That's Hippolyta's role.
Back to Lovecraft, because in my opinion, she does have one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So you have like characters like that, like who goes on an adventure, like this completely adventure that transcends time and dimensions. You have characters like Journey Smollett, who she kind of gets a lot of moments to shine throughout the season. I think she's absolutely wonderful and terrific. Absolutely stunning as well, gorgeous as hell. Costume design for her was amazing. You know what I mean?
Yo, costume designers for this show, you guys are the real MVP.
Yeah, because it was especially with a lot of the women in the show, like a lot of it nailed it perfectly.
Oh, they nailed that like 1950s fashion, and it is gorgeous. The costuming, the production design of the show, it's all incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have her sister in this, who's Ruby Batiste, who actress is Wumi Mosako.
Who I'll say it right now, she was probably my favorite character in this whole show.
Interesting. Because, what elements did you love about her character?
Well, I like how, I can't really go into that without going into spoilers for the show.
Okay. So do you all want to give, final thoughts and go into spoilers?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You want to start, Chayse?
Sure. So I think it's a pretty solid show. There's a few gripes I do have with the story. But I think it's a fun show. Each episode brings you something new. In my opinion, I think there was one episode that was like a very Indiana Jones-esque episode, and then you have the time travel. You have all these different interesting aspects that really build a complex world that I think, really encapsulates how crazy Lovecraft was. So I think they captured that whole tone perfectly. So for me, I give it like a 7.5 out of 10. There were some story elements that it wasn't that the story was bad at any point. It was more so some of the resolutions to some episodes I felt could have been handled a little bit better, but we'll get into that later.
Okay. Nick?
Okay, like I said before, this is one of the most intriguing, interesting shows on TV, and like you said, this show, it's kind of like a little bit of genre hopping with each episode. Like, you have a supernatural episode, you have a time travel, you have dimension hopping, you have creature horror, you have an Indiana Jones adventure episode, and all of those work and blend together really well. It's never felt like these were like clashing tones. It all felt like it was a part of the same story. The acting in here is amazing, except for one particular character that is so whereas the first two episodes were kind of like setting up our big bad for the season, and it changes, and the change is nowhere as compelling or interesting as the first villain of the show. So for that reason, this series gets 8 out of 10. Definitely one of the more fun binges I had this past week.
Yeah. To echo a lot of what guys said here, really wonderful story. Really how it like intricate, both blends real life and the horror aspects to, more kind of weave those things in. I think is very well done. Love the performances. Love the stories that's being told. Love how weird it gets. Sometimes depending on how somebody does it. It kind of depends, but for this was good weird. Weird I like. Very much, a lot of the dimension happening, time travel, the monsters, the lore. HBO Lovecraft. I mean, he came up with a lot of brilliant things. I guess a mind that racist. I mean, he was just probably creatures. He was probably imagining. He was probably thinking of all the black people that he saw in his life. It's probably giving him a lot of inspiration. All that hate, just kind of fueled that those monsters. I think it's wonderful how they kind of take that and kind of tell this story. I think we'll go into more spoilers about more things we disliked, more things we liked. Overall, I'm going to agree with Nick. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So to go into a spoiler discussion, if you all haven't not seen the series yet, come back and listen to our full spoiler review. But I will highly recommend you all check it out. But to get into the spoiler discussion, so Nick, you brought up the point about the sister and the elements you loved about her, and he said it was going to get into spoilers.
Okay, so with the sister, a lot of the reason I came to love her character is the arc she went through the body swapping. Mm-hmm. And getting to experience life as a white woman and see like how much easier it is. But she's also not taking that for granted. It's like an arc that is actually really kind of traumatizing when you look at it, and she's still coming back even stronger. And like towards the end of the series, her bond with her sister, who I'm struggling to remember the character's name, but Journey Smollett's character.
Letitia. Hold on. Letitia fucking Lewis.
My name's not girl, it's Letitia fucking Lewis.
Thank you.
Never forget.
Letitia fucking Lewis. Yeah, and I felt like her chemistry with her worked really well, and even the relationship between her and the character William, who is actually, Christina. I felt like that worked really well. Especially my favorite moment of the series is like her reaction to that reveal that Christina is William. It's like, y'all been here the whole fucking time. It's not shock. It's not horror. It's just anger. Yeah. Which was kind of my favorite moment in this whole series. And speaking of moments of levity that keep it grounded, that was a great moment. Like towards the later episodes when Michael K. Williams is doing a spell for a tick, and he like does the whole like Father, Son, Holy Spirit after finishing the spell. Yeah. that killed me. I was like, hey, it can't hurt.
And then other than the like the humorous moments, there are also like little moments where the characters are just vibing out with each other that I thought was really touching. Like at the last episode, when they were just in the car, just sitting along. I was just like, wow, we really went on a journey with all these people.
Yeah, it's a moment of levity that feels like really earned with all of these characters. And going back to like that whole reveal, I was kind of disappointed that we only had 9 episodes, because I was kind of curious to see how Jamie Chung's character Jia, how she would interact with like the rest of the cast, because we only really get to see her in her flashback episode, which is episode 6, Meet Me in Daegu, and the final like 2 episodes. And I kind of wish she got to interact more with the rest of the cast. Like I was really curious to see how she played with Courtney B. Vance's wife in this show. With Hippolyta, I was curious to see how she would interact with Michael K. Williams.
That was like a small gripe for me too, because it's something where I feel like they didn't kind of address her meeting everybody. It was kind of just like, all right, she's in the group because she loves Atticus. Which I get, but like there was never like a proper introduction or a proper resolution that really brought her into the fold. It was kind of more just like a really separate bar meeting where Atticus is just like, yeah, I still have feelings for you. You still have feelings for me. It was real. Let's go to Arden together. But
you mentioned Atticus Jonathan Majors, who's having a really, like kind of rise right now. You know what I mean? I saw him first in Last Black Man in San Francisco, which if nobody's ever seen that movie, highly recommend, highly check it out. I thought he was terrific in the movie.
I finally got around to watching that. Holy shit, you guys did not oversell how great that movie is.
Yeah, it was really good. I thought he should have been nominated for Best Supporting in that film. I thought he was that good. But you mentioned his character was kind of boring. You want to elaborate on that more?
I wouldn't say he's boring. He's just not charming.
I can kind of understand.
How do I put this?
I can kind of understand that critique of it, but I think you also have to realize that this world that is being built up, it's so strange and so weird. We kind of need a protagonist that's I wouldn't say a blank slate, but more somebody relatable.
Well, do you find a homophobic war criminal very relatable, dude?
Homophobic?
Yeah, he called his dad the F word.
Right? I never saw that as homophobic because they eventually reconcile during that. I just felt he was more angry because of how abusive he was as a father, calling like Tick weak and when he would abuse him, and I felt that it was more anger about that.
All right, so here's my problem with Tick.
Okay.
There's just not enough personality for him to work with, and there's not enough resolution to some of those issues that he has. All right, I get the father piece because Montrose, the name of the father, he was projecting and he was doing, and he was basically just beating him the way he was raised. But with the whole war criminal stuff, like, yes, he has the sort of PTSD or shell shock, as they call it, moments, but it's not really something that he addresses. It's not something he really asks for forgiveness on. It's kind of just, they show him murdering all cold blood, just an innocent nurse, and then they show the torture scene very briefly in one of Gia's, like, when she's absorbing his memories, but they never really like fully address it. And other than that, he doesn't really have much going on for him as a person outside of just reading books.
Well, I felt like the big telling character moment for him was in episode 6 with Jamie Chung, where all right, let's go ahead and reveal it right now, because her character is a succubus, or in Korea a kumiho, which is a 9-tailed fox spirit that possesses the body of a beautiful woman that kills any man she has sex with. Which, hey, looking at Jamie Chung, that 30 seconds would be worth it.
Yeah. Worth it.
Best and last 30 seconds of my life. But then she reveals, yeah, I got close to you to kill you for murdering my best friend, and they go into this exchange of, I did a lot of fucked up things, and I don't know if I could ever be forgiven for them. And I felt like his actions, looking back on his actions throughout the whole series, was kind of his way of making amends for the crimes he committed during war. That's how I read that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, now we're in spoiler discussion, dive a little deeper into things. With episodes like the Jamie Chung episode, where a large part of it is her in Korea. I thought that was like really well done, and how much it connects, to the main plot that's going on now. Even though I did really like that episode, do you all think with the kind of jumps in different things, like the time dimension episode, like with Hippolyta, with the episode where, with Ruby, where she's kind of becoming, she switched and, became a white woman. Do you all think like these kind of different episodes made it kind of jarring, or those kind of, it made it difficult to kind of follow the main kind of plot? Do you think it took too much away from it? What were your thoughts on it kind of doing episodes like that, especially when it's only 9 episodes?
Watching the individual episodes, if I was watching it week to week, it would feel, I think it would feel a little jarring, but watching it as a binge, it felt like all part of one cohesive story.
Yeah, and they do enough callbacks.
Yeah, because this is a show that is made to be binged, whereas I feel like The Boys Season 2, that was kind of made for week-to-week viewing. This works best as a binge watch, I feel like.
Okay. Chayse, you gonna say something?
Well, so I don't think it's too jarring because all those episodes have callbacks and payoffs in future episodes.
Okay.
So, like with Hippolyta's episode, that's very integral to what happens in the Tulsa episode. Because it's the reason why she's able to even figure out the time travel and fix the machine.
Right.
And it's also part of the reason why the episode prior, why Dee was in that jam that she was in with the Jigaboo spirits chasing her, which was also another one of my favorite episodes.
Oh yeah, that was like really well done creature horror. It reminded me a lot of what I feel like Jordan Peele was trying to do with something like Us, but I feel like that movie got a little too complex and didn't really explain what was going on. But
I even had the
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say they even had the weird musical numbers too. Whenever the Jigaboo spirits were coming at her.
Let
me in.
Yeah,
that was so good.
Oh yes, and speaking of the music in this show, there are some bangers on this show's soundtrack, and even songs I don't like they play "Money" by Cardi B during the body swap episode towards the end of it. I normally hate that song, but I felt like it was used perfectly there, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, fuck that, fuck that little rapist up." Fuck him up. That was kind of my reaction to that, because she seduces him as the white woman, and as she's turning back into Ruby, she's stabbing him in the asshole with a stiletto, and the line, "I don't dance now, this is bloody shoes."
So you didn't think the use of modern music, both of you don't think the use of modern music it didn't take you out of it? Because I know some people might be split on that.
Well, for me, it never. If it was like diegetic music, then I would take it. But there's never any indication that the characters are hearing the same music as we are. So it doesn't really bother me.
And it captures like the atmosphere and the mood, because like I honestly don't know any 50s song that you could have played during that moment. You know. Now they do add a couple of like Gil Scott-Heron, some Nina Simone as well, which I really loved. And those scenes are usually the most towards the end.
Yeah, it's
sometimes
like
the little bit of spoken.
Yeah, the
word.
end credits song for every episode is "Sinner Man" by Nina Simone.
Yeah, they do incorporate a lot of older music, like you said as well.
And I think that also works because the world they set up is kind of just like time is kind of just relative. so is the music. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you know, I think there's a lot of really great episodes in here, like the I Am episode, the Jigaboo episode. I think is really great. I think that the episode with Kimiko,
Kimiko?
I mean, I'm sorry. Ja was really great. I was trying the demon. I was trying to say the demon.
Gia.
Yeah, the Gia. I thought that episode was really great. You know, it almost makes me think like, you know, these, you know, really, really great, you know, individual episodes and the overall arc of it. How do you all think it ended? Because like when Nick was talking about the villain and how it kind of swaps, I thought the villain was kind of one of the weakest elements of this.
She was. I feel like it's not so much a problem with how she's written, because there are some actually really great stuff. Like her whole arc is that she was kind of rejected by this order of sorcerers because she's a woman, and she's kind of out to prove that, you know, girls get it done. but I feel like it was a problem with the actress. I felt like she was like really dry. She was really one note, and like that was kind of my big criticism of this show. Is like
I also don't think she. Oh, my bad.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't think she really did that much.
Well, it kind of felt like they were trying to pull like, hey, this is the villain that's pulling everything behind the scenes, and it didn't really work as well.
Yeah, because there weren't really many strings that she pulled. It's kind of like she makes a couple deals here and there, but it's more so like the most time that we see her is with Ruby, which those are genuinely good scenes.
Yeah, and those are the moments where that actress really shines with her chemistry with Ruby.
Yeah. But other than that, she's kind of just, oh, I'm here to make a deal, and then the deal doesn't get made, and then something happens that she didn't quite do. You know? So, and maybe that's also I just, it's mainly for me, it's just her and Tick I just didn't like, because they just weren't, there's just no charm to them, in my opinion. I don't know.
Do you think it's a writing issue with the character? Do you think it's like with the performance of the actor?
It's not. I don't think it's, well, in the case of Jonathan Majors, because he is a great actor, I don't think it's his fault.
Okay.
I do think that writing wise, that they could have served Atticus a little bit more personality, rather than just being more, because he's a reactionary protagonist. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, he's very much just going with the flow and just saying like, oh no, like, I don't want to die. Oh no, I don't want my dad to die. Oh no, I don't want my uncle to die. He does end up getting sort of a goal towards the end, but for me, that was a little bit too late.
Okay.
Yeah. And maybe that's why he's just too reactionary.
Too reactionary. Do you think it's a situation he's not that active in the plot itself, that he's more of a passive protagonist rather than an active protagonist?
Yeah, he is kind of, yeah.
Well,
he's very much a
Well, I think with criticism like that can be like drawn with how you see this show. Do you see this more as like a character-driven show or as a plot-driven show?
I'd say it's mix of plot and world building. To be honest with you, I feel like the show spends a lot more time on the world building than it does with the protagonist and the antagonist.
Yeah, I'm listening to your argument, I kind of agree with you that pretty much it's kind of a Black Panther situation. And in that movie, like, all the other side characters were more interesting than the protagonist. But I kind of feel that's by nature of who that protagonist is. Like, the guy is a war veteran that is clearly dealing with some demons, so yeah, I'm not expecting him to be like really charming or anything like that.
I feel like there's a better word than charming that I can, or just not charming that I can. That's like
stoic.
He is a stoic protagonist, but I do like some stoic protagonists. Like, say, in The Witcher, I feel like Henry Cavill gave a brilliant performance as Geralt. And he was stoic as hell. There was almost no personality except for a few quips here and there. But
yeah, I feel like
the way that they...
I feel like the way they got around it was, in The Witcher, it was Geralt's interaction with God damn it! Why is it so hard to remember people's names? With Yennefer, and the bard.
Yeah.
And you like see those moments of humanity with him. And I kind of felt like you got those too with his interaction with Gia in episode 6. His interactions with Letty, with his father, like after they reconcile in the Tulsa episode.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a me thing, but I did look up on Twitter to see how people like Tick. A lot of people hate Tick, so I'm not alone
Really?
on this thought.
I mean, the guy's a war criminal, so
Vince Staples wanted to watch this show just to see him die.
Wow. Well, you get your wish.
Yeah.
Damn.
Now, I and for me at least, it felt Letty and my love-hate relationship with Montrose, the father, the quote-unquote father, were the two kind of pulls to keep me watching the show, rather than and the world around it, of course. But in terms of the main plot, I felt like Letty and Montrose were the two people kind of keeping it going for me.
Okay.
Okay. You know, I think that, and we'll touch on the ending as well, just the final episode and just the thoughts on that, since you brought up, I mean, Jonathan Majors dying at the end, but just leading up to that first, like you mentioned that there was a weak villain, and you mentioned like all the, you know, horror stuff as well and all that. I mean, how, because for me, I thought one of the weakest things of the series were kind of a little bit of the effects of it. Like, I like the monsters, the creatures look really good, but then other like little things, like there's scenes where like heads would kind of come off that looked so clearly fake. Like when they're switching bodies, like all the skin just kind of falls off, and that doesn't look always the best. What did you all think, like the effects sometimes? Because sometimes that was kind of my weakest. Some of my little.
I mean, I kind of like the approach they took to like shape shifting in this. It reminded me a lot of the shapeshifters in Supernatural, in that, yeah, it's like you literally shed skin as you change, and it's not this like glamorous process. It's gross. It's disgusting. And I was kind of like more unnerved whenever they did it to really notice the effect of it.
Yeah, that shit was gross.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. How do you think it looked? Like, special?
I thought it looked fine. Like, it was gross.
Yeah, it got the intention. It was gross.
Yeah.
It was gross.
Yeah, I don't think it was meant to look like super, quote unquote, well done or fully polished. I thought it was just meant to look ugly as bad, and that's what the process is. It's ugly.
Yeah, and magic in general in this show, it is not glamorous. It is ugly. Yeah. It is violent. It is primal, and it is brutal.
Now, I will give you some of the deaths, because in the episode 3 where like the dude's head comes off, that looked bad.
Yeah, that looked bad. that looked bad, but it also never really distracted me. It's not like a CG effect on a CW show where it's like so bad that it pulls me out of it.
Yeah, because I was off the high of just watching them get killed by the ghosts.
So
it didn't really
yeah,
matter to me.
Yeah. If like you kill a racist white dude, you like stomp the shit out of a Nazi, you get like a lot of cred with me.
No matter how bad it looks great.
So you want to talk about the ending where he died. What did you all think about the final episode? And where do you think it'll all go, like season 2 wise, now that he's dead? Now that Atticus is dead.
So my bad.
No, go ahead, Chayse.
I'm kind of iffy on how it got resolved. But I do like the effect of how it got resolved. That made any sense at all. Like her, like them hijacking Christina's spell, I thought was a great plan, but I don't know if I like the kind of last second execution of it. Like, can anybody explain to me how that worked exactly? Like it was just like, all right, so Letty's not dead, so because she's not dead, she was able to channel the ancestors' magic and make it work. Was that it?
Yeah, that was kind of an ending that came out of nowhere for me, because up until then, it's like she loses her invulnerability, and I don't know when she got it back. Like in the flashback, did Christina give it back to her? Did like Tick do a spell or something? That was like when Gia, when she like unleashed the 9 tails and like tied herself to both Tick and Christina. There were just like so many flashes of memories going by of moments we didn't see, like D bonding with the creature that came forth.
Yeah.
Or which I kind of wish we actually got to see of Tick passing down a letter of little bits of Christina's flashbacks of her catching Ruby. I wish we got to see more of those.
Yeah.
To like explain what was going on, but I didn't have a problem with the resolution of this, because this whole show, it's like saying, all right, magic has a price, and I kind of like that. All right, you have a doomed protagonist, and he is committed like so many atrocities in war that the only real way he can atone is by sacrificing himself.
Okay.
And I like that aspect of it, but it's just the sort of just how it happened kind of felt rushed to me.
It makes me wonder if, like, the production of this show, much like Doom Patrol, if it became a victim of COVID.
It might have. I don't know. When was this shot?
No idea.
That I do not know.
But speaking of those memories about, like, especially the moment between Christina and Ruby, like, yes, that's a solid twist, but, like, I wish we could have gotten the scene. We needed that scene, dog. I hate that they just off-screen killed Ruby, because she was compelling enough of a character for it to, at least just to have the scene where she gets caught, but we don't know exactly what happens.
No, you get the scene of like her grabbing the vial of Christina's blood, and then it cuts to the next day.
Yeah.
And then you like get that reveal, hey, Christina was Ruby this entire drive. And that feels like shocking.
Did you like it, or?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt I don't know. Because I knew something was off when she was going on the trip. I was just like, all right, yeah, no, she's definitely doing this to hijack their hijack plan. So when it turned out that, she was actually Christina the whole time, I was just kind of like, okay.
Did you already kind of predict that already?
I'll give it the props for that. I didn't quite predict that Christina would just take her body, but I had the feeling that Ruby was in cahoots at least, because from the looks of it, Christina's dick game looked great. That shit had her in a spell. Oh my god.
I mean, I also could kind of see it like Ruby did end up betraying Letty because like there's never really a moment where the two of them reconcile. It's like there's even at the scene at their mother's grave, there's still this animosity between them.
Yeah.
And it kind of going back to, hey, sometimes family ain't shit, because that's kind of been like Tick's whole arc in reconciling with his father, and it'd be interesting to have the opposite side of that coin on the villain side of it.
Now, how did you guys like the plot twist with his uncle? Because at first I didn't like it, but then as the season went on, I grew to like it.
What, that his uncle George might be his father?
Yeah, well, pretty much is his father. I don't think his quote unquote father touched his wife once. Because they don't have any other kids, right?
True.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I mean, do you all think that like they'll probably have him come back just as like the son of his character? Because you see, like, when he goes to the future and his son George Freeman II has like the book, like when you look at the picture in the back, it's just Jonathan Major. So you don't think he'll just come back as the son, and then discover that his dad's father was Courtney B. Vance, and then all that other stuff will all come back, or no? I
mean, when you introduce like time travel into a show like this, you kind of have fair game. Anything kind of becomes fair game.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to see if, like, what if they do like a time jump and play around in different eras of the show, because like they said, like at the very end, they not only cut off Christina from magic, but they cut off all white people from it.
Yeah.
No more magic for white people. None. They just
got too much privilege already.
Imagine the shits. Imagine if Ben Shapiro fucking watched this show.
Oh my god, Ben Shapiro would trip out.
No. Maybe the second.
See, this is an attack on white people.
Yeah, this is the most racist thing I've ever seen.
Maybe.
Why can't we have magic?
Maybe in the second season it's gonna be just like Dave Chappelle's Time Haters. Maybe it's gonna be fucking, you know what I mean? Just say fucking kill slave owners. You know, just go back in time and do all this shit.
Well, one thing I do love about the time travel in this show is that, you know, you do have that cliche of, oh, don't mess with the timeline, because you might screw everything up and whatnot. I feel like there is just enough respect for the timeline that they try to give, but then there's also like the cute little twist that they have, like with Tick being the guy with the bat.
You mean that Prisoner of Azkaban twist?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I saw it coming. It still worked. It still worked for me, but I saw it coming.
I was laughing. When I saw him step on the bat. Yeah, of course. There's a bat just conveniently right there. But you know, it was fun. Like I enjoyed it still. And any chance that I get to see just black people doing well, especially in Tulsa, I love to see it. Right. It hurts to see it burn every time I get to see it though, but I do love Tulsa.
Do you all think the magic was handled well? Do you think it was a situation where the magic was not explained well enough, or that it was just used as okay, well, these people can do all of this thing now because magic and no real
I mean, like, even with the characters that are proficient at it, they even say that there are some things that we'll never understand with magic. And it's it's not something that can be mastered per se. It's something that you have to take years and years of discipline and training to understand. And even then, you're still not going to get the full picture.
And I think the best line Christina does deliver is when she's talking to Ruby about her understanding about magic and how she doesn't want to master it, she just wants to experience it. And that's kind of just how the magic works here. It's a soft system, so it's nothing where there's like fine lines of like, all right, this is what you can and cannot do. It's more so, what are you willing to give in order to get what you may or may not get?
Yeah, it's like anything is possible with the right price.
Yeah.
The law of equivalent exchange.
Not quite, but yes.
All right. So just a final thing here. How well do you all think the social commentary, how well it was handled in the show? Because from the show, I will say one thing I do love about it, among other things, is how well it kind of is integrated, and how much it. I really want to do more research on just each individual episode, the lore of each individual episode, all the Easter eggs, all the characters, because they do even have real life historical black figures in this, like Josephine Baker. So how well do you all think the social commentary was handled, and how much do you think the show does a good job at integrating black history?
That was great.
It was beautifully, tastefully done. Whenever they do bring in like real historical events, it's never done in a it never feels like, oh, this is something real that happened at the time, so we have to talk about this. It's always done in service of this overarching story.
Yeah. And I love the way that they weaved in Emmett Till, just being Dee's one of Dee's best friends. And I didn't even realize it was him till the episode that which is pretty much Dee's episode,
which is the Jigaboo episode.
Yeah, and I was just like, damn, wait, that's who that was. That's who Bobo was. It was Emmett the whole time. That's crazy. Because it's one of those things where they're never too on the nose with it. It's more so
you never get a moment where a character just says to somebody, "Wait, who are you?" "Oh, I'm Emmett."
Yeah, yeah. There's no like witches moment where that's Emmett Till.
Right.
It's just playfully weaved into the story. Well, maybe not playfully in that case, but
yeah, it's never distractingly weaved into the story.
Yeah, it's just a nice little detail to just ground it.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anything you else want to say about the series?
It's dope. Check it out.
Shit's fire. Shit's fire. It's definitely best watched as a binge. If you love horror, if you love science fiction, you'll absolutely adore this series like I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And definitely one of my favorite shows that I watched this year. It's up there.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, some people were saying that maybe it's too boring, or that it kind of goes off the rails, or it doesn't live up to its full potential, or...
Well, so does H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
So...
If you ever look... You could look at his books. Like, I haven't read his books, per se, but, like, you could hold one of his books and you could tell that, oh, it's long-winded, it's probably a little bit boring at places.
Definitely some thinly veiled racism here.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Every other sentence is the N-word.
It's like Quentin Tarantino masturbates to H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh yeah, but there's a lot of interesting stuff in there, and a a lot of like very creative lore.
So
Cthulhu was a black woman, confirmed.
So did it make you more interested to go check out his work, H.P. Lovecraft, or?
I don't. Off and on, because like my thing with him is that he was just so racist. I don't know if I want to like buy his work per se.
Right.
But I do love the lore videos about like Cthulhu and like all the other monsters and stuff that he's created. Because he's just created such an interesting world and an interesting what's the word? Is it?
I'd be more interested in checking out the book this series is based on, Matt Ruff's Lovecraft Country. I'd be more interested in checking that out than anything by Lovecraft.
Oh, is this a real book?
Yeah, it's a real book.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. The author is white though. Yeah, in case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he racist?
Not that I know of, so it's safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll check it out then.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's definitely made me more interested in Lovecraft's work. Maybe reading some of his stuff. And maybe reading the Lovecraft Country book itself. Very interested in doing that. Also, I hear like because HBO actually has like a podcast for the series where it was the co-writer of the show who did a lot of the episodes. Like he's on it and he explains a lot of the stuff in the show because, like I said, the show is packed filled with so much stuff. Like with these voiceovers, like with Lil Scott Heron. You have like in the first episode where Jackie Robinson shows up. You actually have a voiceover from actual Jackie Robinson, like from the Jackie Robinson film that Jackie Robinson was in himself and narrated. So that plays. So there's tons of stuff like that I would love to go back and to kind of experience these episodes again via podcast, via somebody really talking about them in depth and length with all the lore, all the stuff that was in it. So that's stuff that really gets me with all that stuff. I'm very, very interested to see. All right, so moving on from Lovecraft Country, do you all want to talk about any news? There was that Raya trailer, Raya the Last Dragon, starring Kelly Marie Tran from Star Wars. Do you want to?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it,
but it sounds good.
I'm happy. I'm happy Disney is doing a movie about Asian culture because it's like so rich and I'm kind of surprised Disney hasn't done one yet. And I love that it's directed by Carlos Lopez Estrada, who I've mentioned here before as director of one of my favorite movies of the last 2 years, Blind Spotting.
Okay.
And I'm also just happy to see Kelly get a second chance with Disney rather than just get shoved away to the side.
Yeah, I like that she's not getting blacklisted for like all the bullshit that Star Wars fans did to her.
Yeah. And I still haven't seen that third movie, but the way it sounded like they kind of just shoved her character aside.
They did.
Yeah. Pretty much. With Raya the Last Dragon, somebody said something funny. Somebody said it's DLC for Mulan.
Oh my god.
But it looks really good. Her outfit looks a lot like Legend of Korra. Like a lot of people are comparing it to like Legend of Korra. A lot of people are saying that. Do you know what the premise is? Sure, I can pull it up.
All right, I have it up right now.
Okay.
In a realm known as Lumandra, a reimagined Earth inhabited by an ancient civilization, a warrior named Raya is determined to find the last dragon.
Sounds dope as fuck. I'll check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it looks, I'm showing a little bit of the trailer right here. You can see, like, her outfit. Yeah, it looks very reminiscent of, like, Korra's outfit. Like, like Water Tribe. Yeah, very reminiscent, something like that. What other news was there, really? I mean, that was really nothing big.
Pretty much the entire cast of the DCEU coming back to do Zack reshoots for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah. Like Joe Manganiello coming back as Deathstroke. Jared Leto coming back as Joker.
Ugh.
So I don't know.
Amber Heard coming back as Mara, which double ugh.
Yeah.
I don't know how he is trying to save this movie.
I don't know.
Because he's not. He's not trying to save this movie. He's trying to stroke fanboys' egos so they'll keep sucking him off even after the movie is total shit.
Yeah, because I see a lot of DC fanboys excited for just to see Deathstroke's cameo. He may not even be integral to the plot, because that's my problem with it. Like, it sounds like he's just adding like random cameos just to do one final weird send off.
He is.
Okay.
He is, because Zack Snyder doesn't understand how to do fan service right. He just thinks, I shove in this character and everyone will love it. That's his idea of fan service. And, take away all color. Deathstroke is all gray now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
he fits the brand because there's literally no color in any of Zack Snyder's DC films. So,
So I don't know what the whole plan. I don't know why bring these people back, like Jared Leto, because like it seems like they were kind of done with him, and that they're
nobody likes Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah. Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke. I mean, he was only in a stinger at the end of Justice League, so I get bringing him back, but like,
and it was kind of a shame what happened with the Batman movie.
Yeah,
but
because he was supposed to be the main villain in the Batman movie. Yeah.
He was supposed to be, but he was supposed to be the main villain of Ben Affleck's Batman.
Yeah.
Which now there's rumors going around of HBO Max doing a mini-series for that, which, please no.
I'm good.
A mini-series with Ben Affleck as Batman?
Yeah, that's one of the rumors going around.
I would actually like to see that.
I don't remember where I saw it from, but it was probably We Got This Covered, so it's probably horseshit.
Oh. Okay.
Well, alright, so my thing with that is I highly doubt it, because I feel like it would conflict with the Batman coming out next year.
Right.
But it really would depend on who's the showrunners, and how it's being told.
I'm seeing it from the direct and from Movie Web, so I don't know how reliable that is. I don't know how reliable.
But if Zack Snyder has a hand in it, then he could keep it. Keep it in the vault. I'm over him.
Keep your 5 hours super cut to yourself.
Yeah. Josh, can we please not review that when it comes out? It's just not.
I'm kind of gonna have to, man.
Yeah. Because it's gonna be trending, HBO Max. But it's gonna be broken up. It's not like it's gonna be all at once. It's gonna be broken up.
Should do like an initial watch or do like a drunk watch.
Oh yeah, nah. You gotta watch that drunk or stoned or something. You can't watch that sober.
Every single Zack Snyderism, take a shot.
Oh my god.
Pretty sure we'd be dead by the first episode.
Every time Ben Affleck grunts, take a shot.
Every time Ben Affleck looks like he's... it's so tragic, the fallout of that piece of shit movie. Especially, fucking Bane didn't need to break Batman. He just needed to give him a bottle of whiskey.
Oh my god. Dude, he could have been such a good Batman too.
I know.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
I thought he was pretty good. I thought Ben Affleck did a good job in the performance, even though the movies are bad. I thought.
Oh yeah, he was good as a performance, but the second you turn Batman into a serial killer, fuck off.
Yeah. And I just wish we had more of, like we were talking about way back, about just like we didn't have a proper Batman detective movie.
Yeah.
yet. And hopefully we're getting that with the upcoming one. But
Yeah, supposedly this is supposed to be it. So.
Yeah, the few little bits of him in the Batcave were nice, but outside, in the suit, killing people and trying to kill Superman. No, not me. Not for me.
Nah, don't at me.
Yeah.
No.
Only good scene was the warehouse scene with him in the suit.
I like the scene where he's talking to Henry Cavill, Superman. I like that scene at the party.
Do you bleed?
I like the scene where he goes like investigating and he goes to like, I like that stuff. I thought that was pretty nice. But
Josh, I have one question for you.
Do you bleed?
Can you bleed?
it's do you bleed? That's what it is.
Do you bleed?
You're fucking up the
Whatever,
line. Can't
dude.
remember the line.
Mother-
Both lines suck.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, I'm not saying there was some crappy moments, but I'm saying Ben Affleck was good. I thought he was a good Batman. All right. I think that's pretty much it, really. I think we're pretty much done. Just reviewed On the Rocks, The Witches, Lovecraft Country, Borat 2. I think we're all good. There's a couple news stories. I think we're all set. So let's get out of here, people.
All right.
Just so you know, where you can find us: Twitter, The Afternoon Tune, Facebook, The Afternoon Tune. If you want to catch us, send us an email. Let us know your thoughts. Send in a question. theafternoontune@gmail.com. Just everything, The Afternoon Tune. We're also available where everybody listens to podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on Anchor. Wherever you all listen to podcasts, we'll be there. You can always check us out. Nick, where you want people to find you?
All right. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Night and Day Nick.
All right, Chase.
And you can find me at Mr. Chayse Mac. That is spelled MrChayse, Mac, MAC. And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram. Yeah, I'm there.
All right, nice.
How about you, Josh? Do you want to plug your personals or?
Oh, I'm always monitoring the Afternoon Tune Twitter, Afternoon Facebook. So hey, if you ever want to talk to me, I'm usually the person that's monitoring those things. Also, don't forget YouTube, do all that fun stuff you all know to do. Thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that good fun stuff. Know what to do. Leave a comment, constructive criticism. Let us know what we did wrong. Let us know what we did right. Hope you all enjoyed listening to the show. If you didn't, of course, always let us know. To all those people,
Nah, don't. Keep that to yourself.
no negativity at all.
Yeah. Thank God K-pop Twitter hasn't canceled us yet.
Oh my God, I know.
That video is actually
surprised
doing pretty well. I was checking the video. It's doing pretty well. The one we uploaded.
Yeah.
It's doing okay. Doing pretty well.
Any dislikes?
No.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's doing okay. All right. So to all you people out here listening to this, whenever you're listening to this, don't forget to always stay tuned.